So friends, in this Scrum and Agile introductory session, we're going to talk about what is Agile and what is Scrum. What's the big picture? We'll introduce the terms and then we'll talk about the interesting concept of work in progress, WIP, the Kanban system, right? So starting, a lot of questions that we get is what's the difference between Scrum and Agile? Is that a valid question you guys have?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Who has this question? Shivani, what's the question you have?
What's the difference?
The difference we said is that, for example, CSM, Certified Scrum Master, is from Scrum Alliance, and Agile Certified Professional is from PMI. And nowadays you hear other terms like Kanban, XP, Lean, which are all under the umbrella of Agile, right? So that's what is there in terms of what Agile has to offer. And as we discussed, that Agile is all about getting things done quickly, right? Agile. So we human beings are pretty, lazy sometimes. So how do we create a system where everybody's excited, like rugby players, and they are delivering their best, and they are giving that to the market as quickly as possible. So creating a potentially shippable product or a product increment in a very short span of time. That's what is Scrum and Agile in short story. Now, some of the organizations which are working in this space, Scrum Alliance is the leader. They came out with this in 2003 and very successful. Nowadays, if you go to Google, Apple, all the leading companies across industries, across America, across the world, Scrum is being practiced. 400,000 plus members, Scrum Alliance, certified Scrum Masters, certified Scrum product owners, certified Scrum professionals. So I got my CSM, CSP or CSP, and I'm working towards my CST, certified Scrum trainer, where I can also train as a CSM like you who wanting to be a Scrum Master. So then Scrum INC and Scrum Org, so Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland, who were the founders of the Scrum, they kind of started this, and I had the opportunity of being with Jeff Sutherland at PayPal, and that's where we chit-chatted. I introduced an article to him. It's about my article which is being published on Scrum over coffee and cookie bites. That's a very interesting article you will see, and it's hopefully going to be published in Academy of Management Journal. It has been selected for peer review. So yeah, so Scrum and Agile is very exciting. It takes us individually to the next level. It creates that energy in us. It kind of releases that energy which is required to create success in project management today, where 60–70% of projects fail because of too much tight processes, timelines, and costs and risks which never are achieved. So this framework tells us that how do we implement Agile and Scrum in environments by using a sprint system. So you see here on the board the sprint. We start with the product backlog. We have a sprint backlog, and then we start the sprint. We have the team ready, the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the dev team. We measure the progress, the velocity, the burn down in a daily stand-up meeting in which we discuss what we're doing today, what we did yesterday, and what is stopping us, right? So very, very precise. The team, which is probably 7 ± 2 people, try to deliver that in a short span, right? So that's what we achieve in the sprint. And when it's done, we review what's happened. We demo the product to the stakeholders, and they either say yes or they say no. Some of it they say yes, this is ready. Some of it they say, this piece not really ready, take it back to it. So it comes back to the product backlog, and we work on it. Based on the definition of done that we have defined and the acceptance criteria, we demo it, and the stakeholders accept it. Then the team gets together and kind of reflects and retrospects and thinks what's going right, what's not going right, and figure out what to do better. So in the next iteration, like Shivani was saying, we improve it, right? The goal is to improve our cadence, our velocity, our rhythm, right? Much like rugby teams, where excited individuals and professionals build the system. So what do you think is this, friends?
To be done, the requirements that the user stories that need to be completed.
All right, very good, very good. Pam, what do you think is this?
It's basically a chart that we can keep track of things to be done, work in progress, and
Very good. So
the
when we
user
started
stories
this
is
class,
done.
we said we're going to define what the team wants, right? So to me, this was a sprint planning meeting. As a product owner, I had some agenda. And then we started working on it. Right now, we're working on these two. We've already finished talking about some of the stuff. So it is done. So this Kanban or work in progress chart tells us very nicely as to where we are. It is an information radiator. It makes things visible, transparent, right? And everybody knows what's going on. So that's the Scrum, friends, and Scrum over coffee and cookie bite from Sam. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the session.